At the dawn of the Imperium, the Emperor created the first of his gene-crafted soldiers, the Custodians. These were the Emperor's true firstborn, created in the early period of the Unification Wars. They were made from a meticulous process that combined genetic engineering with psycho-indoctrination. In every measurable way, these Custodians were designed to be beyond superhuman, way stronger, way faster and sharp of mind than even the Thunder Warriors and the Astartes who came afterwards. The Custodians are as rare as they are mighty, not just because of their extraordinary abilities, but because of the impossibly high standards required to create them. Custodians are created by modifying perfectly selected infants of noble families of Terra and changing them at a molecular level, which is different than Space Marines who are selected at adolescence and implanted gene-seed organs. Because of this incredibly selective process, the Custodians have never been a large force. At their peak, they numbered around 10,000. During the Battle of Gyrus Travian in the Great Crusade, the Emperor, in a rare instance, led his Custodians to kill the war boss and end the orc threat. He confronted the war boss called Garkle Blackfang and decapitated the orc in a single glorious blow, while the Custodians slaughtered over 100,000 orcs in their wake. And get this, only 3 Custodians fell that day. See, the Custodians were held so high above all others. They were to Space Marines as Space Marines are to normal humans. They were held so high that it was comparable to heresy to even say that a battle with them involved was lost. As such, most battles were deemed victorious even before it began, if they were to be delegated to them. However, as powerful as they may be, they are still killable, and so here in this video we will showcase the battles in the grim dark that had the most casualties for this brotherhood of demigods. Let's get to it. Number 10. The Battle of Log 2. In the story, a short story called Duty Unto Death by Mark Collins, a squad of Adeptus Custodes faces off against 1,000,000 Tyranids. So the story goes like this. Aboard the Imperial flagship called the Terra Nostra, the Custodian Wardens were entrusted with the transport of Primaris Space Marine gene seeds, a treasure of immeasurable value. But as fate would have it, a Tyranid high fleet descended upon them, with its relentless swarms threatening to overwhelm the Imperial fleet. An emergency teleport is initiated, and the Custodians, along with the precious cargo, are transported into the inhospitable world, the death world of Log 2. There in the volcanic highlands, they made their stand, and what follows is a month-long ordeal of relentless combat. The Tyranids attack in endless waves, and their swarms driven by an insatiable hunger to consume all life. And even with their superhuman strength and endurance, of the Custodians who were present, who were Tamerlane, Darnax, Khalid, Netrius, Ostran and Varmak, only the shield captain, Tamerlane, manages to survive. But then again, in the end, all the Tyranids were defeated. Here, the Custodians' death toll is 5, and this is at number 10. Number 9. The Battle on the Plains of Pallas. On the Plains of Pallas, a shield company of Virtus Praetors, those fearsome Custodians mounted on jet bikes, were sent to deal with the traitorous Marshal Gregor and his large force of the Vostok 7th Regiment. Gregor, a once loyal servant of the Imperium, had turned his back on the Emperor and led his men on a rebellion. The Custodians had little patience for traitors. In a blinding rush of speed, the Virtus Praetors stormed from the skies and across the plains, with their inceptor lances crackling with energy and annihilating Gregor's forces, which is a mix of regiment of tanks, artillery, and foot soldiers, who were prepared to fight but never really for this. The jet bikes tore through the ranks like a scythe through wheat. It is noted that a shield company was sent here, which means a total force of around 12 to 40, since a squad of these Virtus Praetors consisted between 3 to 10 Praetors, and it is also said that numerous hunting packs or squads emerged from the main force during the battle. Anyway, a third of the force of the Virtus Praetors were lost, which means somewhere below 10 Custodians were killed in the battle. Number 8. The Purging of the Worms of Ur-Tendril. Gene-stealer cults on Terra itself? Madness. But that was exactly what the Ordo Xenos agents had discovered. A cult calling itself the Worms of the Ur-Tendril. They had entrenched themselves within the Nordafric under-archives. It was heresy of the highest order, and the Adeptus Custodes would not stand for it. In an operation known as the Tale of the 10,000, they descended into the Under Archives, bringing fire and fury with them. The Gene Stealers were cunning, using the labyrinth tunnels to their advantage, but the Custodians were relentless. Each step they took was measured, every strike calculated, but for every Gene Stealer slain, another seemed to crawl out of the shadows. And so there were many thousands of the heretics. With every several hundred of them slain, they managed to take down one Custodes. And so this went on for quite a while until the very last one was killed. As for the death toll of the Custodes, we can guess that at least 10 would have lost their lives, and maybe even more. Number 7. The Harlequin Incursion into the Emperor's Palace. In Guy Haley's Throne World, a rare and unexpected intrusion occurred, where the Eldar Harlequins sent by Eldar Ulthran somehow breached the defenses of the Emperor's Palace. They came not in anger, but to deliver a warning. Yet their method was, let's say, unorthodox, to say the least. The Harlequins danced and darted through the sacred halls, their mocking laughter echoing in the air, at the same time shouting, "Friends! Friends!" and cutting down Custodians with the twist and turn of their blades. It was a dance of death, but the Custodians were no mere audience. They responded with lethal efficiency, turning their guardian spears to deadly purpose. Though dozens of the Custodians fell, so did the Harlequins, with each death a testament to the absolute refusal of the Custodians to allow any breach of the Emperor's sanctum to go unanswered. It is said that dozens fell, which means 24 or more. Number 6. The Echo Vault. The Echo Vault, a mysterious and ancient Xenos ruin, became the focal point of a fierce conflict between the Imperium and the Black Legion. The story begins with an ambitious Chaos Lord called Hadrexus leading a sizable Black Legion force to the planet called Darkroth. Their goal, to seize the Echo Vault and unlock whatever secrets it might hold. But just as the Black Legion was about to claim their prize, 2 warships called the Moraids appear in orbit, bringing with them the Custodians of the Dread Host. These elite warriors descend into Darkroth and the battle shifts. The Custodians deploy in force, focusing their efforts on the critical mountain pass leading to the Echo Vault. Custodian wardens, clad in their golden armor, form a formidable defense. They held their ground against relentless waves of Black Legionnaire attackers, while at the same time the shield companies executed a series of strategic strikes, hitting the flanks of the Chaos forces and fracturing their formation. The final blow comes with a teleportation strike of 40 Alaris Terminators, the elite of the Custodian forces, materializing right in the heart of the Black Legion's lines. It is surmised that only a few dozens of Custodians fell that day, while the rest of the Black Legion was scattered and defeated. Number 5. The Battle of Galamore. In the Galamore system, the Word Bearers launch a devastating attack, summoning demons and overwhelming the Imperial defenders. The Morian 84th, the Phyroxian 40th regiments, and the Sisters of the Order of the Argent Shroud made a desperate stand in the Macrocathedrum of Galamore Prime. Just when hope seems lost, the Custodians and the Grey Knights arrive. However, their fleet is hit hard by the Chaos Bone Cannon, which fires waves of spirits impervious to point defense. Shield Captain Aklor and his Custodians manages to land on the surface and battle through chaos-infused servitors, aided by the Sisters' prayers. Additional Imperial forces, including 50 other Custodians led by Tribune Colgan, arrived and reinforced the defenders, reinforced the Custodians who were already there. After 3 days of brutal fighting, the Word Bearers are shattered in the Battle of the Statue Steps. It is to be noted that a shield host was deployed under Aklor, which suffered massive casualties, as well as losing the shield captain Aklor himself, and they had to be reinforced with 50 more Custodians under Colquhoun, which means that at least the same number was lost in the battle. Number 4. The War of the Spider. The War of the Spider was a battle between the forces of Fabius Bile, Typhus the Traveler, and the Imperium during the Psychic Awakening. The war began when Fabius Bile crossed paths with Argento Corian of the now renegade Brazen Drakes within the Cadian Gate. Bile had just stolen the relic known as the Arc Cornucontagious from the Death God in the Scourge Stars. The war was chaotic and confusing, mainly between Bile and Typhus, but however, in 2 worlds, Bearston and Dessa, the Imperium too was engaged, sending a shield host of Custodians to deal with the devastation caused by these two warring Chaos factions. Shield Captain Tyvar and the Auric Conquerors were dispatched, and in their contingent were Virtus Praetors, Alaris Custodians, and many more. This shield host consisted of 4 shield companies, which meant around 30 to 40 Custodians per company, and a total of 90 to 120 Custodians overall. It was said that the war was a victory by attrition, with only 25% of the Custodians surviving, which means a death toll of between 67 to 90 Custodians. Number 3. The Burning of Prospero. Prospero. It was supposed to be a straightforward mission: apprehend Magnus the Red, the Cyclops Primarch of the Thousand Suns, and bring him to Terra for judgment and censure. But things rarely go as planned in the grim dark, especially with Horus there scheming, twisting the message of arrest into annihilation. Accompanied by the Space Wolves and the Sisters of Silence, the Custodians descended upon Prospero like a storm. But Magnus and his Thousand Sons were not ready to surrender. The execution which started turned into a massive battle, a war of sorcery against steel, of arcane might against unbreakable resolve of the Emperor's chosen. Although the Custodians were obviously leagues ahead of the Astartes in martial prowess, the Thousand Sons had the power of the Psychers on their sides, and with it a great number of Custodians fell. It was said that the total number of Custodians deployed there were 982, meaning 91 Solodites, as of the pre-heresy organizational codex, and they suffered massive casualties, which would obviously put the death toll in the several hundreds. Number 2. The Assault at the Lion's Gate. The Battle of the Lion's Gate, also known as the Sack of the Lion's Gate or the Second Battle of Terra, was a major assault on Terra occurring 10,000 years after the first siege. It followed the 13th Black Crusade and was part of the aftermath of the Great Rift, which had caused widespread chaos across the Imperium and severely disrupted warp travel and communications. Chaos God Khan launched a brutal assault on the Imperial Palace, focusing on the Lion's Gate. Despite the formidable defenses and the presence of nearly 4,000 Custodians, led by Captain General Trajan Valorous, the defenders faced overwhelming odds, including 8 bloodthirsters. The Custodians and the Grey Knights fought valiantly but suffered heavy casualties, with over half of their numbers falling in the battle. So that battle ended in Imperial victory, but it exposed vulnerabilities in Terra's defenses, leading the High Lords to recognize that Terra was no longer impregnable. And number 1. The War in the Webway. So right before the Horus Heresy, Magnus the Red's psychic warning to the Emperor of Horus's treachery inadvertently disrupted the psychic wards, which led to a breach of the Webway portal within the Imperial Palace. This breach allowed demons to flood through, prompting the Emperor to dispatch the Custodians and the Sisters of Silence to contain the demonic threat. The Custodians and the Sisters fought tirelessly to establish blockades and repair the Webway while facing relentless demon and Chaos Space Marine assaults. Over 5 years of brutal conflict, the Custodians suffered severe losses, with their numbers reduced to 90%, and the Sisters enduring even heavier casualties. At this pivotal moment, the Emperor, temporarily freed from the Golden Throne, intervened directly in the Webway. His presence, manifesting as a burning star, drove the demons back and gave the Imperials crucial time to evacuate. The Emperor's actions, along with the Custodians' Ra and Endymion's desperate flight with the Draconian demon, ultimately allowed the Webway gate to be sealed once more. And so here in the War on the Webway, the death toll is over 9,000. So if you liked this video, then watch this other one too, and if you want to browse for other sci-fi and Warhammer content, then check out our channel. So subscribe and like for support, and yeah, while you're at it, bang on that bell icon for notifications on new video uploads. Till the next time, take care, boys.